This is SCP Radio Network, coming to you live from Skylab Studios. Up next is Source Code News.
This episode of Source Code News is brought to you by Parties for You. For the best margarita machine rentals in Houston, give them a call. 281-748-0057. That's 281-748-0057. By Cazadores Tequila. When you're in the mood for tequila, buy the best. Cazadores Tequila. And by Alberta's Best Bet Bail Bonds. Don't gamble with your freedom. Give them a call. 713-237-8238. That's 713-237-8238.
Welcome to Source Code News, episode number 37, recorded on December 21st, 2017. This show brings you the latest in tech, science, and gaming news. We also will be bringing you interesting interviews and much more. Subscribe to our podcast on iTunes or your favorite podcatcher. Follow us on YouTube, Mixcloud, and all of the social media sites. We do the show live every Thursday night starting at 8:30 p.m. on scpradio.com, where you can check out our audio and video streams. You can also join the chat room on scpradio.com or call in at 832-910-7727 to ask us a tech question. Brian's here. He can answer it. And if he can't, then we got Faithy. Faithy will answer it.
All right.
Or just to join the conversation. So if you got a question, you want to, get in the conversation, you can call in and join us, all right. So before we do that, let's introduce Brian. This is his first time on Source Code News. We had another crew. I'm rebooting the show, rebooting the show, going a different direction. So I brought Brian in. So welcome, Brian.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
He's gonna be from now on my host until he gets tired of it. We'll see how long he lasts, But yeah. So we're happy to have Brian here. Let me see. You're a programmer, right, Brian?
Indeed, I am. Yes.
See, so we got a smart person now. All right.
Too much credit.
Too much credit. All right, and let's interview our guest. We got Mark Kincaid.
Yes.
Kincaid. All right. See, I forgot. I didn't even think to ask you that. So welcome. He is our game dev that we're gonna interview today. Later in the show, we're gonna do a little bit of news and we're gonna do a little new thing that we're gonna do on the show where we talk about what's been going on this last week. But then we'll get to the interview. So Mark's gonna be here for the whole show, right, Mark?
Sure.
Okay, he's gonna be here. We're gonna discuss.
The beer and the pizza doesn't run out.
Exactly. We got plenty of beer, plenty of pizza. We even got some Cazadores tequila, if you really,
That's later in the interview.
That's later. That's for later. So yeah. So and then he'll be here discussing whatever articles we're talking about or whatever. So, all right. So let's go ahead and start off by talking about what we've been up to this past week. So Brian, why don't we start off with you?
Okay, sure. First and foremost, thanks for having me.
Mm-hmm.
And as you mentioned, this is my very first time here, very first time on any sort of internet-based broadcast. So stoked to be here.
Awesome.
Met you about 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
At a company type party.
Mm-hmm.
Found out we have many interests in common, like SpaceX, Tesla, science, Walking Dead, Breaking Bad, all those kind of good things. And I had a tour of your studio last week, just to get acclimated and kind of lay of the land.
Oh yeah.
And I'm here,
Cool.
So thanks again for having me.
Yes, sir.
So on to maybe kind of segue into more techie type stuff. Because I actually haven't mentioned this really to anybody outside of work. Is I installed for the first time VMware vCenter Server 6.5. So what that really means is I'm running a bunch of virtual machines on a true server, so I can have various development platforms, file servers, database servers, things like that, and I'm able to just make my work more productive. So, never done it before, like I said, so it's good to do it, and it helps out a lot.
Okay, cool. So now I got questions about that because I always hear about having a virtual machine.
Yeah.
I've never messed with one. I've never done anything. what's like the purpose?
Well, you can. Well, the main purpose is to maximize the potential of your hardware. In other words, in old days, remember back in the old IBM PC, you had one processor. You can run one program at a time. That was it.
Okay.
But what I'm actually doing, or what any hypervisor, I think that's what it's called, does is it runs multiple machines all on the same physical machine, and you can turn them on and off quickly. You can copy them, clone them, if you want to tweak one. But it really maximizes everything in that server. So if you buy a big expensive server, you want to get the most bang for your buck. You can say, well, this virtual machine has just, let's say, 2 CPUs. This one might have 6, but it's all virtual. It's all virtual. It's pretty cool. So instead of having racks and racks of physical machines, you have all of the, pretty much all the power on a single hardware. Yeah.
Cool.
So it's a lot of flexibility. And if you install stuff and it messes up, well, you can, if you have a snapshot of it, you can just go back.
Yeah.
And go from there and see what you did wrong, or blame Microsoft or whatever, which is what I do. But
so, and it's running on a server, and do you have to have a pretty beefy server to
I would say,
server, the better,
the
more.
I mean,
virtual. Okay.
Yeah, it's it has a lot of storage as far as physical disk drives that make up virtual drives. I don't know how many CPUs. I mean, it's a little bit of an older box. Wasn't being used, so it was pretty much just given to me and to play around on. So yeah, it's pretty beefy.
Cool.
I mean, I call it my living room heater because when that thing is on, it it's it produces something. Now it's nice timing because I just got it, and it's of course a little cool.
Yeah.
So
it's good. Get near it, just kind of warm up,
Yeah.
But that's
pretty much cool. That's
so
cool. Yeah.
Well, awesome. I think another advantage of that stuff is that you can run whatever operating system you feel like you want to run, right?
Yeah, actually, I only have Windows type images, but you're right. You can run Linux, so
or
alternative
Apple or whatever,
something
on the same box.
Yeah.
Cool.
And they're all kind of talking to each other. I mean, I guess a little bit of configuration, but that's an idea. It's a big playground. So
Neato. I don't know if I've ever needed. I don't know if I could benefit from something like that here.
I don't know. I mean, so I saw a company I worked for once, they put software on oil rigs, and they ended up taking images and would just install that on whoever the company man's laptop or whatever, and make that work.
Yeah.
And so that worked real good for distribution. Because you've
Yeah.
already got the whole thing there.
Yeah,
you
it's
just
ready to
throw it
go.
on.
Yeah, the whole image is ready to go. Pretty
Yeah.
cool. That's pretty neat.
Yep.
Yeah. So we got Brian doing some geeky stuff over here.
Yeah,
okay.
that's what I get paid to do.
At home, warming the house.
Yeah.
It's shut down right now. I said I'm starting vacation soon. I'm like,
you don't need it.
No, don't really need it that much.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it's shut down.
Yeah, it's wasting electricity and stuff. So.
Yeah.
All right. Cool.
Yep.
Cool. So okay, I didn't do some cool stuff like that now, but this past week we went out to help with Toys for Tots. It's the U.S. Marine Corps does this Toys for Tots every year. They raise money. They get do a toy drive for toys, bikes, all that stuff. Normally we do it with Miss Alberta. She's also one of our sponsors. Miss Alberta's Best Bet Bail Bonds, and she how do you call it? She asked. Well, we asked if she wanted to help. SCP Radio could help her, maybe raise stuff, and so she normally collects 50 bikes. That was her normal goal, 50 bikes for the toy drive and a whole bunch of toys. Then she said, "Well, I want to kind of let since Hurricane Harvey came and it was made a lot of mess. It hurt a lot of people. We're like," she said, "Well, let's go 100 bikes." But then when she joined with us, we're like, "Well, we'll match your 100. Let's do 200." So we had a goal of 200 bikes. It turns out we ended up with like 216 bikes.
Oh my god!
Yeah, so we were able to meet the goal. We were all happy about that, and a whole bunch of toys. All kinds of toys. That we were able to raise. And last Sunday, that's what we were doing. We were over there helping distribute toys. And people have to fill out applications and in order to get the toys, like the families and how many kids and. I don't know what the application. I didn't really look at it. But they had to fill them out and they have to be accepted in order to be one of the ones to receive. And then also, they had 2 different locations. We went to one where we were supposed to go to an apartment complex to distribute the toys, but they said that it was really dangerous, bad apartment complex.
Mhm.
So they said, let's have it at the police station and have them come to the police station to pick up the stuff. So that's what we did. We met at some place. We had a police escort. They came and they escorted us. We were all, they were blocking all the, the street, and they took us to their police station, and we went inside there, and we put the bikes in there, and they came in, and we distributed bikes. We took pictures of the kids. I mean, it's awesome when you see those kids, their faces light up when they're like, oh, wow, I'm gonna get, they're giving me this and a bike, and it depends on what they wrote on there. If they wrote that they wanted a bike, they got a bike, and stuff, and 2 toys. If they didn't put a bike, they got 3 toys, so it was pretty awesome. It was a nice thing to do. So we're probably gonna be doing that every year. Helping Miss Alberta, do that Toys for Tots, and the Marines show up and they come and help us move toys and stuff around. So they're in their blues, their dress blues. So it's pretty cool. They even had Santa Claus out there.
So logistically, how do you deal with 200 some odd bikes?
A lot of people, a lot of helpers.
Well, how do you transport?
Well, they had a couple of box trucks,
Okay.
those big old box trucks, and they hanged some, hanging from the top.
Because they're assembled, you're saying?
Yeah,
they're ready
all
to go.
assembled,
Yeah,
ready to
okay.
go.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So and they had a big warehouse. I don't remember that warehouse they had because I didn't get to go to that warehouse. But like when we had an event, the main event that we had, it was at Broadway Buffalo Wings in Pasadena. We went there, and by the time I got out of work and showed up, we had one of my DJ Jimmy Ray was DJing. We were streaming live on there. We set up a table. We streamed. I took a computer. We're streaming live and doing a show there, saying, "Hey, everybody, come out. Bring a toy. You got free food. All you got to do is bring a toy, and you're in for free, and you get free buffet. And we had Jimmy DJing, and there right outside we collected 100 and I think they were at 190 bikes there. And it was all in front of the store. They just had lines and lines. And then the Marines showed up in a couple of trucks.
Okay, so
And
they're ready.
Yeah, they come ready. They know. We're not the only ones collecting. They have other people doing separate.
Right.
So Toys for Tots is big. We were just helping them through this Miss Alberta. So it was a good time. It was awesome.
So what did Miss Alberta think of the whole experience?
Oh, she was so happy. I mean, she's like, we only give 50, and this time we were able to give over 200. So she was very happy with us. Helping out. The only bad thing is I didn't get to go a lot because throughout the week before Sunday, they were wrapping toys and separating toys. Like, this is for boy, this is for girl, this is for this age through this age. Separating them like that. And I work and then come here and I do shows all week. So I wasn't able to go, but my wife went. She went to go. She donated some time. My sister, my kids went, and the other DJ Fluffy, the guy in the middle there, he went and he was there helping out. So we helped a little, like that. But the main thing was mention it on the radio, mention it on Facebook, and constantly everywhere we went. Hey, bring toys. We had even a box here that people, when they would come here, they would bring toys and they'd leave them in the box. So we were able to do some cool stuff like that. So that's let me see. Okay, and I just wanted to mention we had our SCP Radio Christmas dinner Sunday. I had invited Brian since he just joined, but he already had plans, so he wasn't able to go. But we went to Spanky's. I paid for everybody, all my crew, and it was fun. It was cool. I mean, everybody. It's nice to sit down and talk to everybody, and discuss what plans we have for 2018, stuff like that. It was a good time. It was a good time. And tonight, like I said, we're going to Tumbleweeds. The moment we're done here, my wife and I are going to take off, and we're going to go do interviews with artists and stuff at Tumbleweeds. So if you're listening to us, go to Tumbleweeds, and we'll see you there after the show. All right, so let's go ahead and get into some tech news. Faithy.
Tech news.
All right, so I'll get this first one. So Mark Hamill destroys the guy who killed net neutrality with an epic Star Wars tweet. So net neutrality is dead thanks to the Federal Commission or Communication Commissions. Ajit Pai is the one that decided that net neutrality wasn't a good thing, and he pissed off Mark Hamill. Yeah, you don't want to piss off Luke, so it's not smart, you know. That's a Jedi. You don't piss off Mark Hamill. But he came out with a with a tweet. Well, before that, Ajit Pai dressed up as Santa and did a video, a little video talking about all the stuff you can do, even though there's no net neutrality, you know. And in the video, he had fidget spinners and he was with a lightsaber. So that really pissed off Mark Hamill. He's like, cute video, Ajit. What is, aren't I precious? I don't know, with a question mark. But you are profoundly unworthy to wield a lightsaber. A Jedi acts selfishly. Well, how do you say that?
Selflessly? Where is it?
Selflessly. Yeah. There you go.
Yeah,
selflessly for the common man, not lie to enrich giant corporations. And then, by the way, did you pay John Williams his royalties? So yeah, he's kind of mad at him with that lightsaber. And then what's his name came back with he misspells Hamill's name. He put 2 M's, right? And he put 2 M's instead of 1. And says, Luke, I know Hollywood can be confusing, but it was Vader who supported government power over everything said and done on the internet. Huh? It was... Who said that? Oh, Ted Cruz came out and said that. And he was defending Ajit Pai. That's right. Ted Cruz came out and said that. And then, so... You know, that's why giant corporations like Google, Facebook, and Netflix supported the FCC's power grab for net neutrality. Reject the dark side. That's what Ted Cruz said. But that, you know, he's saying the giant corps like Google, Facebook, and Netflix. Those are the ones that are going to get hurt. I mean, okay, so we're going to talk about what net neutrality is on the next article, right? That's the one you put up.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we'll talk about why. But he's calling them, you know, saying that they're the giant corporations, which to me that would be Comcast, that would be AT&T. Those are the ones that are not cool. So, you know, Hamill responded another tweet. Thanks for the smarm spaining it to me, Ted Cruz. I know politics can be confusing, but you don't have more credibility if you spelled you would have more credibility if you spelled my name correctly. I mean, it's right there in front of you. Maybe you're just distracted from watching porn in the office again. So yeah, they were going back and forth. It was a crazy little fight they had on Twitter. But okay, so now let's go to what does it mean, to end net neutrality? What does it mean to the world?
Sure. Thanks for the segue here. This article's from CNN. And so speaking of net neutrality, just what is it? The article, What Does the End of U.S. Net Neutrality Mean for the World? Explained it using this analogy. If the internet is a highway, vehicles, or think of them as content providers, can't or cannot pay more to use a special fast lane. The concept of net neutrality is that all content is created equal in the eyes of the content provider. So if the internet is neutral, then the internet providers are treated like public utilities. So something like Comcast or AT&T, like you mentioned, can't speed up or slow down certain content like our beloved Netflix and Hulu. So if net neutrality ends, some companies might be stuck in the quote-unquote slow lane, and some customers might stop using the sites because they take too long to load or don't load at all, or they just get frustrated. So, so net neutrality, just for a little historical background, was put into place during the Obama administration. So the current head of the SEC, like you mentioned, Ajit Pai, it was a former lawyer for Verizon, is arguing that repealing net neutrality will lead to innovation. So that remains to be seen. So just one quote, let's see, from, let's say, outside the U.S. area. China has enforced the opposite of net neutrality for years, and a person by the name of Lokman Sui, an associate professor at the Chinese University of Hong Kong and former head of free expression at Google in Asia, said they, meaning the Chinese, made their choice a long time ago, and it's the opposite of net neutrality. So as of the writing of the article, though, the FCC's decision could still be challenged in court or in Congress, so
Yeah.
maybe the battle's not over yet. So
Yeah, hopefully. But yeah, how they said that they may put people on, like the slow lane, that like us, like we could be,
yeah.
and y'all are streaming video. Okay, well, we rather y'all, people stream net, our, like I'm with what is it, Comcast, Xfinity?
Yeah, I'm too. Yeah.
So they have their own internet, like TV type thing. They have like kind of like
Xfinity
a
on
Netflix.
demand.
Well, it's like,
Or
yeah, it's kind of like
StreamPix?
they
those-
gave me some website. I don't want to use it, but and a sign in and a login, and it's kind of like Netflix. You can watch movies or stuff like that, and I'm pretty sure they'll be like, oh well, that's gonna be have like fast speeds, and then this other stuff, this other video, we don't know what it is. We're gonna just slow it down because it's not important, and that could be SCP radios.
Yeah, it could be what you want.
So that's kind of like that's not cool. That's not cool for us. But and I would assume like Netflix and them, they would probably tell them we're gonna charge you more to make sure y'all stay on the fast lane. Y'all pay us a little bit more, stuff like that, and then tell us, oh, y'all want Netflix? We'll come to this higher tier, pay a little bit more, and they're just steady making more extra money left and right. Do you have any anything to say about net neutrality?
I don't know. I think the biggest loser is the consumer.
Yes.
For either way.
Oh, either way.
Either way.
Okay.
I don't see I agree with Ted Cruz on the corporation side, and I agree with the other side, net neutrality, of the evil ISPs, right? Be it Comcast, AT&T, or Verizon.
Yes.
All those corporations, they're just fighting over who's going to have the opportunity to dictate how things work. Ultimately, we don't get to dictate.
Yeah.
I actually think one of the problems with this is that it has a Trump stain on it. And if we take Trump out of the picture and look at what's happened, it may actually be a good thing, because now people aren't happy about it. And people are going to argue an awful lot about, well, what should Comcast be giving me as a service? And if you don't like what they're doing as a service, hopefully you can switch, or hopefully new types of services will come up.
Yeah.
That's what you hope will happen.
Yeah.
Will it happen? Who knows?
Yeah.
You don't know.
That's
Nobody
the thing.
knows.
Nobody knows.
But I had a problem with it being a utility, because then you're going to get taxed, you're going to get regulated, you're going to get controlled, you're going to get bureaucratic, and that's a problem.
Yeah.
Unregulated, then, I mean, the internet's been unregulated,
Yeah.
and it's been a lot of fun up till now.
Yeah.
And if it stops being fun, then I think people are going to be upset.
Yeah.
And somebody's going to find a way to make it fun. That's what I'm hoping.
Yeah.
But I don't know, because I don't think either side is the perfect fit for us.
Exactly. Yeah, I don't like the idea of internet being regulated by a government. The only thing is we don't have. I mean, normally what you say is, okay, we have competition. That's the best for the consumer. There's no competition.
No, there's not. Down here where we live, it's really bad.
Yes.
Right. And but I managed to switch out from Comcast last year, and basically it's because we were paying way too much for that service.
Yeah.
And they really need to be more competitive.
They do. Yeah.
And but then again, okay, so I jumped from that devil into another devil. And I've got AT&T and all this other stuff.
Yeah.
And, and I know how that is, and it's going to be the same thing. There's got to be something else. In the early days, right, of internet and all that stuff, we had all these little small ISPs. Of
Mhm.
course, this was all modem
You're talking about
dial-up,
Yeah,
right?
Tyler, yeah.
And
Yeah.
some of them were really cool.
Yeah.
And they offered you great features, and you could do what you wanted and all that other stuff. And maybe, hopefully, something like that will happen.
Yeah.
Either way, but I think the other thing that gripes me is that in 2008, wasn't it, we got like $2 trillion from the Chinese because we were in trouble, right?
Mm.
Okay, these, I forget what they called them, the packages, whatever it was. Anyway, but that money to, try to keep the economy going. And what I don't understand is why nobody had the vision at that time to say, this is the future. Let's build it.
Yeah.
Build a public network
Mhm.
that everybody could hook onto. And I don't
Yeah.
know why they did. They left it to these corporations to build.
Yeah.
And now we're stuck with, they have a valid point. Hey, we're bearing the cost for this.
Yeah.
And it never should have gone that way. And
Yeah.
that's a problem.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's kind of like there was a couple of cities where they were trying to do their own internet, like
Yes.
that the city was gonna.
Yes.
But right away, AT&T and them said, hey, y'all can't be jumping in our business. This is, we have rules already in place, laws in place that we're protected. Y'all can't give us competition like
Yeah.
that. So I don't like that either.
Yeah, we got to have choices. And
Yeah.
if we don't have choices, you lose either way.
Yeah, I mean, you have like Google Fiber came in. Where was that? Kentucky.
Some cities, I don't
Yeah, I
remember the cities, but
I'm sure it's on the
probably
West Coast. or
California
Atlanta.
at least.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Atlanta. I think they
Big,
were
yeah.
going to Austin.
Yeah.
Oklahoma, I think, was where they started. They were giving you for $120. They were giving you I think, what is it,
Fiber.
gigabit up and
Probably
gigabit down.
Yeah.
And then TV. You
Mhm.
could watch TV for like $120, and like at that time nobody was giving out a gigabit speed. Slowly when they came out with that in that city, Comcast and AT&T. Oh well, we can offer it too. Oh, now you can offer it.
Yeah.
But that's why I say competition. Competition
Yes.
needs to be there. But oh well, like you say, we don't know which is the best way for
No.
this. Not right now.
And the other question is, okay, so what is the internet? What
Well.
what does that mean?
Yeah.
When it's regulated, well, how far does that reach go?
Yeah.
You never know. It's undefined.
Yeah.
So if some new technology that makes, shall we say, fiber obsolete comes in, well, is that part of the internet, or is that? I still think things would come. It's kind of like the what is it, Uber,
Mm-hmm.
right? Uber is basically illegal operation of a taxi service.
Yeah.
It's gypsy cabs.
Yeah.
And it's busted the monopoly, right, of bureaucratic, government-regulated, controlled
Mhm.
taxi service. And people are happy
Yeah.
because, of course, it costs less.
Except for the taxi.
Yeah.
Except for the
The
taxis.
yellow cabs are not happy.
No, they're not happy.
No.
And they came out and did all that, like, they forced their way in.
Yeah,
Like,
it's just a bus.
yeah. But, I don't know.
It's just interesting stuff. And so I think sooner or later other stuff will come along and break the mold that they're trying to fit everything into either way. But,
Yeah.
But it won't be soon enough. And, here in Houston we'll be the last to get it.
Right? I know. All right, so what's D-Wave?
Well, hold on to your hats for this one.
Uh-oh.
Well, D-Wave is a company, I think, if I recall right, it's the first company to sell quantum computing devices. So yeah, that warrants a little background here. It's been around for a few years. I just casually kind of check in, see what they're doing. But for a little more background, classical computers, you've heard of binary 0-1s. So everything we do, phones, computers, it's all 0-1s. But a quantum computer uses quantum bits that store multiple states of a value at a single time.
Yeah.
So it can do a lot more calculations in the same amount of time that a classical computer could do it. Classical CPU is, so that's pretty exciting. But this article is about it's just announcing that that company is introducing some major upgrades for the first quarter of next year. I don't have personal experience with I probably couldn't afford a quantum computer to begin with. I think only people like Boeing's of the world, buy those kind of maybe
but
military would buy that kind of hardware.
this
but,
wouldn't
yeah.
be a regular house computer though. This is a
This
is a big box,
they're
right?
huge.
Yeah, and they're huge, and it requires liquid nitrogen to cool down
Oh, wow.
down to the particle levels. Yeah, that's how, and magnets and all this sort of stuff. I mean, you could Google it, and
Wow.
But yeah.
So they actually have quantum computer
Yeah,
working.
I mean, years ago I thought it was just a theory thing, but
Yeah,
they actually can do stuff.
Well, actually, yeah, I've heard of them.
Like machine learning purposes,
All
and
that stuff.
just,
Yeah, that they'll find answers to like big hard problems like a lot faster. Like
Yeah, like one example is analyzing traffic flow between cities, where you have so many combinations, I guess, of cars and vehicles, or transmission between neurons in an artificial neural network, so like AI. So
Okay.
it needs massive computing power. So
Yeah.
I just thought it was interesting that they're still in the mix. I don't know
Yeah.
if there are any competitors right now, but it's probably kind of a hard space to get into. It's
Yeah, I'm
gotta
pretty
be
sure.
expensive.
yeah,
The graphic I got from the article. Yeah, it's not exactly what you'd put in the kitchen. So,
no. That
But it
yeah.
does look like a big, nice fridge.
That's not a laptop.
No,
I thought your VM server was.
I'd
I know,
crush
right?
you. No, that's no. My
That's what you
server
need,
is-
though. That's what
is-
you need for your server.
Okay. If my company would pay for another room of the house,
Another
or
room.
maybe, but no, that's not going to happen. But yeah,
Cool.
So,
cool.
mhm.
Cool. Yeah, that's
just watch
neat.
out for it. So
Yeah,
it's,
that's what Mark needs, so he can make Empire.
There you go.
Yeah, you could play all the games in memory at one time. And,
Everything at once.
yeah.
Cool.
Mhm.
All right, let's go to science.
Science news.
Want me to take this one?
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Or you?
SpaceX launches used rocket and spacecraft for first time ever. Also, these were
So both components, both of the major components were both used
they
on
were
at
used
least
already.
previous flights. So
Cool.
SpaceX, as it often does, makes history, and
Yeah.
that
So-
was the significance of that launch.
Pretty cool. So on
Mm-hmm.
December 17th, SpaceX Technologies, known as launched a used spacecraft, the Dragon, using a used Falcon 9.
Mhm.
This is the first time in history such a combination of reusable hardware has been used. There were a few delays before the actual launch.
Mhm.
Is this the one that it took about a week, huh?
Uh,
Like delays?
Problem.
A couple of days, yeah.
It was a couple of days.
Yeah, I mean the delays were a couple of days.
Okay.
So whenever that was that a Friday? I forget offhand.
The 17th.
Let's
I don't
see.
remember.
17th,
Yeah,
Actually-
that was Sunday.
Sunday.
But wasn't it gonna launch like on a Monday or Tuesday?
There was a postponement.
Yeah,
at least
it was
I think
something
maybe
like
even
that.
2 days of delay. But yeah,
Well, I think they're still very super paranoid.
I
Yeah.
bet because one exploded, right?
I remember reading that they detected some particle somewhere where they shouldn't have been. I mean, we're talking about
Okay.
stuff that of course we can't see, but
Yeah.
they were just super paranoid mode. So as they've had some oopsies, as you can say, in the past, but it's getting better.
Have you
good,
watched
definitely.
that National Geographic Mars series? They did like 6 episodes, and it's kind of a fictional dramatization
I've
of
heard of.
the
Yeah,
next
I
trip
didn't
to
see
Mars.
them, but I
didn't
heard
And
about
the first
it. Yeah.
episode is an
Yeah.
Elon Musk commercial, right,
Oh.
for SpaceX. But it's really interesting because they talk about the rockets and how difficult it is and how much trial and error they've suffered. And
Yeah.
they're a long ways off, but they've made a lot of progress.
Oh yeah.
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 I really like how he prints his rocket, the rocket, the actual rocket. Like he has a printer or whatever that makes them, like a 3D type printer type thing.
The actual
Yeah,
I hadn't
like out of
read that
metal
part,
though.
yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah, 3D
yeah,
printing?
Yeah,
Oh,
and he
Mhm.
they do it all in 3D on the computer, and then they,
Mhm.
they print it out.
Mhm.
Like, well, I don't know if he prints it out, but they do the stuff on the computer to design the actual motor or rocket. What would he call it? Booster, and it has like a
Yeah,
whole
the
bunch of fail
Merlin
safes.
Merlin engines. I
What,
think,
yeah,
or the engine basic
the big
engine
en-
component.
yeah.
Yeah,
and those I think those are the ones that he says that if like so and so goes out, it has enough to as a
Yeah.
backup.
Yeah.
So a few of them can die on it. It'll still keep
I think it's called Falcon 9 because I think there are 9 Merlins. If my son were here, he would probably correct me or at least confirm or deny whatever. But I think so it's redundancy because
a lot of redundancy. That's his whole deal. Which is smart.
By the way, I've read his biography twice, so it's definitely worth reading. There is a chapter or two about the trials and tribulations, launching rockets in the early days and crashing, blowing up, almost getting killed. I mean, they went through a lot. Somewhere in the South Pacific, away from civilization.
Yeah, I think what he needs is somebody else making rockets too. There's that competition to come again. I think would fire him up a lot more. I think it would be very interesting to see if somebody actually challenged him.
Yeah,
well, Jeff Bezos, Blue Origin.
It could happen.
Yeah, he's not quite there as SpaceX is, and I think what's his name, Branson, is interested maybe in more of a tourism where you go up 70 miles or so, and it's not quite space, but you come back down.
Now,
and
he's been trying that for quite a while.
Yeah, I think there was a death or two on one of the crafts that they testing. I mean, on Earth level, just testing a craft somewhere. I think there was a death or two.
Oh, no wonder.
So, but it's dangerous.
Yeah, that's all dangerous.
But SpaceX has never sent an actual person up to anything yet. So, anyway, yeah.
Cool. All right, so, machine learning, potent tool, discovers 2 new worlds. You want to take that one?
Oh, sure. Yeah. So, let's see. Yeah, it kind of goes along with the machine learning, D-Wave systems, products, and whatnot. So, just real briefly, NASA announced that it found 2 more planets called Kepler 90I and Kepler 80G. I guess they were running out of creative names, but I'm assuming that Kepler is probably based on the Kepler
telescope.
Telescope.
Yeah.
So, a person at Google by the name of Christopher, I'm not sure how to pronounce his name, but Xiaoyu, co-developed a machine learning program to analyze the massive amounts of data that the Kepler telescope has collected. And you can read a quick quote here just to kind of give you a sense of what he and his team were doing. He said that Kepler produced so much data that scientists couldn't examine it all manually. The method has been to look at the strongest signals, examining them with human eyes and automated tests, not so different from looking for needles in a haystack. So out of 30,000 signals examined, 2,500 planets could be confirmed. So he goes on to say, we chose to search in weaker signals, as if in a much bigger haystack.
Yeah.
So summary here is, actually those 2 planets were part of a 8 planetary system that orbits a star that's somewhat larger and more massive than the sun, but this is really far away, about 2,500 light years away, meaning that it would take light 2,500 years
to get there.
To get here or there. So
sorry, down the block.
So well, we won't get there anytime soon unless
SpaceX gets it together.
SpaceX or NASA or a combination gets us
right
really quickly. So, yep.
Cool. Cool. Okay, let me see.
Yep.
Google's AI beats a top player at the game of Go.
Yeah.
Anybody play Go? You ever played Go?
Go.
Have you played that in?
It's sort of like the
in Japan?
Chinese checkers looking thing.
I thought it was a Japanese game, I think,
know.
or maybe Korean, but I've never played it myself. Yeah, I thought, yeah.
But people have been writing Go programs for years.
So.
But I can't remember the rules at the moment, but it's like it's a jump. It's a move and jump type of game, I do believe.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Google was able to create an artificial intelligence to beat the best Go player, in the world. They gave it the rules and had it play itself or whatever, over and over and over and over, and it just learned
to learn
strategy,
I guess.
Strategy and all that stuff, and then they were able to put it up against one of the top players or whatever, and it won. I think it won 5 times in a row. So that's pretty cool, that DeepMind learning system they have. I mean, and I've been on other podcasts I've been listening to, they were talking, this other guy that just started messing with AI. He was trying to copy something like what Google did, and yeah, he was like, you get it to you the way they program it, and the deep mind learning and all that stuff, and he lets it like learn on its own. Like he's like, I don't input. He goes, and once it learns and you look at the code, you don't know what you can't even figure out what the code is, after it learned how to do all this stuff, he says he'll let it run overnight or whatever, and the next day it's like really smart. Like it can do all this, but I mean specific to whatever goal he wanted it to do, but it's real smart. He's like, I didn't teach it to do that, I just gave it the rules. So that's pretty cool
that's
stuff.
Impressive. Yeah.
So I just put that in there, just mention it. I mean, it's I know not everybody that watches. I got a lot of people that watch the show that are the Tejano universe. They have no clue about this stuff. But I mean, there's some cool AI stuff out there that so the future is almost here, and we're when the AI takes over, what is it, Terminator?
Well, that's what Elon Musk was, right? Didn't he form some kind of? Well, he has an AI type, I think, foundation. But he warned us against AI and the Skynet from Terminator taking over and bombing us and whatnot. So
But I've heard a lot of people say that
Right.
it's not a.
Like the Go AI is kind of like the chess AI, and remember chess beat Spassky 20 years ago or whatever. Although it was fascinating because in the chess match, I think it was Spassky. I forget.
I don't remember. His name.
the IBM. You're talking about
the
IBM?
Yeah, the Big Blue. Who was it that? Who was the? You could look it up, but it's okay.
Russian guy, I think.
Yes,
I can't remember the.
But the first time he got beat was the day after the computer refused to accept the draw, and they were forced to play another hour or two.
Oh wow!
And that pissed him off so much that I think he was frazzled after that, and he's very upset about that. But I would think that the Go machine and the chess machine are similar in what they're calling artificial intelligence, which is a lot of captured knowledge of moves, and how these move, how the board progresses.
But I heard them talk about that. They were saying that the chess one, like it got all that knowledge, like they gave it all the games,
the database,
database, yes.
But
the other one, they didn't give it any database, and it came up with strategy on its own.
Well, but what that means is they let it, put it in a corner, turned it on, it warmed the house, and while it was doing that, it played several games, and it figured out
different things.
The patterns that were the winning patterns.
The winning patterns.
It's still, it's still a long way from it making, shall we say, creative decisions. And of course, but I think a lot of the stuff that Musk is like worried about also is that some of that technology though can be applied to various other things like facial recognition. In fact, I think the article mentions that, and various other things, and that, I think that's where the concern comes in, that all of a sudden, you can become an enemy of the state. Solid state, I guess.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
It was Gary Kasparov.
Yes, Kasparov.
Yeah, versus Deep Blue. Yeah, 96. It was the first year of the first match. Yeah. Yep.
Cool.
He's good.
All right, so I guess we're going to go into some gaming. Let's go through the gaming kind of quick. No sound? Alright, that's cool.
Okay.
How come there's no sound? It's on mute.
It's on mute.
Yeah, unmute it. So, Dragon Ball Z Fighter. Dragon Ball Fighter Z. Open beta date announced. Here are the details. Okay, so you don't play games?
No,
and I know you don't play.
I've heard of it. Dragon Ball Z, I've heard, but I don't know.
Dragon Ball Z is like a favorite cartoon of mine.
Yeah.
But this game looks pretty cool. I haven't had a chance to play it. My son played a beta recently that came out. He was able to play it, and he was like, "It's awesome." But they only gave you a couple of characters, and you kind of get bored. You only play, certain characters only.
Is it a fight match type of game?
Like a Street Fighter type.
Okay.
Yeah, like a Street Fighter. It's pretty awesome because they do all these, moves that you see in the show, and they're doing it, and they fly around. It's pretty awesome. It looks like it's like we're watching the show. But yeah, they say if you missed out on the previous beta, you'll soon have another chance to try the highly anticipated fighting game ahead of its launch. So next month, let me see, when is it? January 14th, the beta starts. So yeah, next month, January 14th. Yeah, that's someone's birthday. So for your birthday, you'll be able to play Dragon Ball Z for free. So you won't have to be in any specific, you wouldn't have to pre-order it or anything. It's open for all PlayStation 4, Xbox One players. So you just go in there, download it, and you'll be able to play it for 2 days, from the 14th to the 16th. So
cool.
It's not bad. I mean, you get it's not I don't think it'll be the full game like it wasn't last time. It was just a couple of players, a couple of fighters, and you just got to play with them, and that was it. But this is a really anticipated game. I really like this.
Have they made noise about when it's going to be released, or?
26th. It says on the 26th, January.
So after the open beta.
Yeah,
okay.
right after. I don't know why they call it a beta. Betas usually, aren't you testing stuff to give them feedback? There's not enough time for feedback on that.
Well, I mean, if it
Is
works, then, probably if they're doing a free open beta, you're the guinea pig in, shall we say, a stress test.
But not on the game on the network, or
yeah. Well, I
everything?
don't know. I mean, they're probably it probably goes through a server that they have.
Mm-hmm.
Your matchmaker and all that stuff, and that's what they're probably testing in that final free week. And they give you the game for free, so you can hook up with somebody else
and play
and make sure that that's all working.
That it's all working.
Yeah.
But that's what I say. But I mean, from the 16th to the 26th, there's enough time for them to make changes.
Well, I
that's
mean,
what I'm wondering.
Once again, it's well. I mean, if some disaster happens, it won't be coming.
It won't come out. I guess you're right about that. That is true.
Or it'll be in the patch the week later when people discover what the problem is and they're all complaining about it.
Yeah, and then they'll be able to. Yeah,
that's how that works. So.
Okay. Let me see. You want to mention the Cuphead? You want me to get it?
Sure, you can go ahead.
Okay, so Cuphead.
Not too familiar with it.
Yeah, like you sent me that message about Cuphead. They're not mad about it. They're making all that money.
Oh, I never heard of that game.
Oh no! It's like it looks like an old cartoon.
Yes.
When you play, yeah, my son right away, he's like, Dad, can you buy me Cuphead? And I was like, you want to play that? Really? And he's like, yeah. It's really hard. It's a hardcore game.
Is that a potato?
It looks like an angry potato. It does. But what happened was on I don't know if this was I think it was the Apple.
You said it was iTunes. Right?
iTunes, yeah. Someone came out and put the game on iTunes on an app, and they were selling it for $4.99. It wasn't the people that made it. It was somebody else. They just ported it, and I think they put a D-pad on there, so it was hard to, and nothing worked good. Like it had delays and stuff. So people started buying it, and then we're like, this sucks. I mean, it doesn't react like it should, and then turns out, well, the owners, the studio that made it, are like, that's a fake. That's not ours, But it was a full game. I think it was a real game. They just ported it from the Xbox to the. Yeah. But they right away took it off, iTunes right away came back and took it off, and I'm pretty sure that if you paid for it, you could get your refund.
No, Apple would have to.
They have to, right?
But the interesting thing about that is that iTunes is Apple's market.
Yeah.
Apple is very careful, supposedly, about what they put out there. Now, if Cuphead is this big game that you were talking about, sold 2 million copies.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's popular.
Yep.
You would think somebody in the Apple testing quality assurance would know about this. Yeah. So somebody else, and this is not an uncommon thing. You see these products on Steam. You'll find them on Google Play. You'll find them on iTunes, where somebody else, usually in some country across the Pacific, has stolen your game. It's very easy to do. Very easy to rip it off put it in another wrapper,
yeah.
and they'll put it out. And some people just take all the art assets, everything, and they'll get it out there. And these things sell for several days before fans of the game discover that it's out there running under a different company name or something, and they report it, and it gets yanked. But for Apple to do this in a very popular game like that is really surprising, because there's a long process to get your game approved and put out there. It's not a very quick and fast process.
Yeah, it takes a while, right? Yeah. So
especially at this time of year near Christmas, it's really actually maybe that's how they got out, because at this time of year everybody's trying to get out before Apple closes their shop for the holiday, like 5 days before Christmas. Okay. And so they're probably and they warn you that the app acceptance process takes 10 days or something. So if it's the 15th when they close their doors, you got to get your app in by the 5th. And so you want to be there. You want to be there right before Christmas, because it's new and it's Christmas, and people go out and spontaneously buy. And they buy. And so there's a big glut right at that time. So maybe that's how it got out.
They're just pushing out apps. Yeah. They're like, let's get it out there. Let's get it out there. And
it's very possible someone who didn't know what this was or something just kind of
just put it out there.
Thumbs up, and it's out there.
And that like I said, that was a big game. It came out like when they had what is it? What do they call that? What's the gaming Faith? What's the gaming show that they have, that big conference where they have all the Microsoft comes out and has a conference and all that?
The E3?
Is it E3? Yeah, E3. Yeah. When E3 came out, that was one of the.
Okay.
I mean, like, it was a big deal. You know, I can't believe that happened. So, all right. Well, you want to take the next one?
Sure. This one is called Desert Bus Comes to VR at Long Last. A VR edition of the epically awful, intentionally mind-numbing mini-game from the unreleased Penn and Teller's Smoke and Mirrors 21 years ago has a listing on Steam. But that's the same Steam probably we've been talking about? Okay. Yeah. The game supports the HTC Vive, and Oculus Rift headsets, plus motion controllers and gamepads with partial support for that. And let's see, is there a graphic? Okay. From the 4 screenshots shown, it looks like the game has been remastered with new graphics, but the gameplay is still the same. Drive a bus from Tucson, Arizona to Las Vegas in real time for 8 hours, fighting its misaligned steering the whole way. If you can't keep the bus on the road, it wrecks, and I guess it's towed back to the originating city
in real time,
where you must start over. Okay.
So
I haven't seen it myself, but yeah.
Yeah, Penn and Teller did this a while back as a joke, because people were saying, "Oh, there's too much violence in the games," and then it creates real violence. So they're like, "Okay, well, let's make a realistic, boring game," and you know. But what happened was, there's this what is it called? It's not Toys for Tots. It's Child's Play charity. So. These guys ended up, for Child's Play charity, they streamed themselves playing Desert Bus, and they're asking, hey, if y'all pay for another hour, we'll stay playing for another hour, because it's a boring. It doesn't do nothing. You constantly have to tell it to the steering to stay straight on the road. It doesn't do anything. You'll drive for 8 hours. At one point in the drive, a bug hits the windshield.
Yeah,
and that's it.
I see it. Yeah.
And then you get
there's your violence.
And then there's your violence. Okay. And then you arrive and it says, okay, you got 1 point. Do you want to turn around and go back? But it's 8 hours in real time. 8 hours. Yeah. And you can't pause it. The game will stop. Yeah, it's done.
Off the road.
Yeah, there's no pausing, no nothing. And these guys from Child's Play will play like 3 or 4 days straight. They'll play that game, and they're steady collecting. People are just sending them money. So like they'll raise $650,000 for the Child's Play charity. And Child's Play is pretty cool. They buy game consoles for the hospitals, like kids that are sick and maybe have cancer or whatever, and they can't leave. They're at the hospitals. They bring them. Child's Play brings them like Xboxes and games, and that way they can have fun while they're there. They have no place to go. They have to stay there. Yeah. So it's a cool charity. Our first year we had a big party here, and all the money we asked people to pay to come in, and they left money at the. We had like a bar and a bartender. All the tips and everything we donated it to Child's Play. So
nice.
I like that. I like that charity.
Yeah.
But yeah, Penn and Teller, they updated the thing. They the graphics. It works in VR now. It's the same exact game, and it's boring as hell.
You go blind, then, I would think.
Yeah.
Now there's these racing games, very sophisticated racing games, right? I can't think of what the one.
Forza? Yeah, you told me about it a little.
Yeah, probably.
I never,
there's all sorts of one. You know, and you have the interface controls and all this other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I was a member of a clan once that had a team, and they do team racing. This is worldwide team racing. They'd run on whatever track it was they'd set up, but it's like a 12-hour or 16-hour race with 4 people.
Oh wow.
Okay, so you would do a certain number of laps, and it would change over, and you would change over. Not physically, their car would go into the pit, your car would come out.
Oh.
And I mean it's like Penn and Teller pretty much. You know the track.
Yeah.
And the game is not to make a mistake, right?
Wow.
If you turn that turn that you've turned 50 times, just a little too fast or too slow, you lose seconds, and all of a sudden you're behind the other team, which is it's fascinating. And I watched it for like an hour and a half because they streamed it for our clan to watch our team run. And I mean, you got to really be into it. But I mean, those guys were really good at not making mistakes.
I bet.
Because they play those to be perfect.
So
they probably trained on that. But it was very impressive.
Wow. Yeah. I've played Forza.
Real racing.
It's real racing. Yeah. Oh yeah. Those are the ones that if you turn a corner too fast, like if it's a sharp, you'll go straight to the wall. There's no.
Well, no. See, these guys don't have that problem.
No.
It's just if you turn just a little too fast or a little too slow, you lose time.
Yeah, because you got to follow that line.
Yeah.
The apexes and through the curves.
You're going to the curve. You go out a little, and then you hit that curve real good. You got to know how to do it. Yeah.
Yeah. You and me, we'd be in the wall.
Oh yeah, of course. No, but I like Forza. I play that a lot, but. Without practice, right away you lose it.
Yeah.
And I have a steering wheel, and it's got the pedal, the gas, and the brake.
And you can go as far as you want.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I like it. So, all right, so do the 2 commercials we have. I'm going to some commercials. Hey, bartender, we need a round of shots.
Do you want what everybody else is having, or do you want the best of the best?
Of course we want the best of the best.
Well then, Tequila Cazadores is the one for you.
For those special moments in your life, whether it's a special occasion or just a day relaxing with your friends, drink the best of the best, Tequila Cazadores.
Hey Michelle, my birthday's around the corner. I want to throw a big party and wow my guests, but I don't know what to do.
All you have to do is call SCP for your DJ needs and Parties for You for your margarita rentals. They have the best margarita mixes in town. With these 2 companies, you will wow your guests. They will talk about your party for years to come. For your margarita rentals, look us up on Facebook, Parties for You.
Or call 281-748-0057.
And don't forget to mention, SCP sent you.
Together, we are the future of entertainment.
Okay, and we got Miss Alberta's Best Bet Bail Bonds. If you or someone you know are always getting into trouble on the weekends, going out partying, like I think Brian's the one that's the party animal.
Yep.
Always out partying.
I have that number in speed dial.
Oh. So, the number is 713-BEST-BET. Really simple. You're drunk, you're in jail, and they say you got one call. 713-BEST-BET. And you talk to Miss Alberta from Miss Alberta's Best Bet Bail Bonds. Don't gamble with your freedom. Give her a call and let her know that SCP Radio sent you. But yeah, just so you know, it's 713-237-78238. That's Best Bet. Just because some people didn't know that Best Bet, you could actually dial that on the phone. Someone over there didn't know that, so I have to say it. But okay, so now let's get into the interview part of the show. All right. So we have Mark Kincaid, right? Kincaid?
Yes.
Kincaid, okay.
Yeah, right.
All right, so you're a game developer,
Mhm.
correct? Your game is Empire Deluxe?
Empire Deluxe depends on which flavor you want to do it. My latest version is Empire Deluxe Combined Edition.
Combined edition.
Just came out. It's on Steam
Cool.
and itch.io.
And is that available for both PC and
It
Apple,
is
Mac?
it is available for Linux, Mac, OS X, and
PC?
the Windows.
And Windows.
That
Awesome.
stuff. Yeah.
Cool. Cool. All right. So now it's you said it's RTS,
No, it's
It's
turn-based.
turn-based.
TBS, turn-based strategy game.
turn-based strategy game.
It's an old war game. It's about, as I said before, but your friends didn't hear it.
Oh yeah.
It's a game that has about 5 decades of history to it.
Mhm.
It started out as a little computer game with armies and tanks and little transport ships, battleships, that sort of thing on a small world map.
Mhm.
That you start with a city, you build your units, you go and you take other cities, and then the other guy is trying to do the same thing,
thing.
and you clash,
And then you
and,
clash,
you
yeah.
know, and it's more exciting Penn and Teller, but it's that sort of thing. So that's how it started in the 70s on Unix systems,
Okay.
back in the college geeky age. And then a man named Walter Bright had written a lot of the code for that, and he brought it out into the 80s on the PC, and he managed to sell it to a company, or not sell it, but he got published by a company called Interstellar.
Okay.
Interstellar, I'm sorry.
Interstellar.
And they were actually Houston-based.
Oh.
And now that I think about it, they're down at Clear Lake, so very close.
Oh, cool.
And so they, and Walter Bright brought his Unix code, and they had another developer named Mark Baldwin worked on that and fixed it up, and they sold that as Interstellar Empire.
Cool.
And that was very popular. It was available on a lot of platforms, but we're talking old platforms now: Amiga,
Oh, wow.
Atari ST, the IBM XT, whatever that thing was, right?
Okay.
And it's so very old. This is like '88, sometime around then.
Okay.
And then Mark Baldwin, the developer that worked on the Interstellar version, took the game. He added a bunch of rules and different stuff. He's a very good game designer, and he put out Empire Deluxe in 1993 or 92.
Okay.
And that was sold, available on Windows and Mac, I think. That's how that game went along.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, after like 5 or 6 years, this is PC gaming in the 90s, so it's just starting, and then the audience is getting a lot bigger.
Mhm.
The big claim to fame, of course, back then was Doom and Quake. You remember every
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
every iteration of Doom or Quake, it'd get fancier and
Yeah,
really
yeah.
cool, and the audience would get bigger and bigger,
Yeah.
and then casual gaming became a thing. And as that happened, the slower games, like the turn-based strategy games,
Mhm.
beyond Civilization, you've seen
Civ,
what they've
yeah.
done with Civ
Yeah.
over the times. These games started to get forgotten about,
Mhm.
and so it got really close to becoming abandonware and all that other stuff.
Yeah.
And around 2002, I approached Mark Baldwin about the rights to the game, and I managed to acquire the rights from him. I was just a huge fan of the game.
Okay.
So I couldn't tell you how many hours I'd played the silly thing.
Yeah.
And but I knew it inside and out, and I managed to. It was one of those rare situations where most of the source code and most of the game was not owned by some large publishing company, because that happened too in the 90s. A lot of these companies, they got bought by Hasbro or bought by somebody else, and basically those companies wanted one particular title in the whole suite, but they got the whole thing.
Oh, okay.
And so a lot of games get forgotten about that were made. And so I managed to get the rights from him, and I just fixed up the parts that were missing,
Okay.
because he didn't own that part of the property. And I released it back in 2003 called Empire Deluxe Internet Edition, which was just like almost the 1993 version of Empire Deluxe.
Okay.
A year later, I came out with another version that had extra stuff to it and that was the Enhanced Edition, is what it was called.
Okay.
And that was out in, I guess, 2003, 2004. And that was great because people started playing the game again. The community was very excited. We had a great time, and that's lasted for about the last 15 years. And now I've come on the opportunity that I have the time and the cycles to do it again.
Yeah.
So one of the problems with the Enhanced Edition and the Internet Edition is that some of the users of the Internet Edition did not like what was added to the Enhanced Edition. But boy, the features in the Enhanced Edition made gameplay much more fun, less micromanagement, all that other stuff. So the community was kind of in a rift, shall we say, between the two versions. And so this combined edition has both types of gameplay together. And that's what that is.
I got you.
Of course, with new modern interfacing techniques. Well, I say modern, whatever I can develop, shall we say.
Yeah.
My company of one. Yes. I'm not Cuphead. So I can't do it quite like they can.
Yeah. Cool.
But I haven't quite sold 2 million copies either.
No, not yet.
Working there,
almost there.
You know, almost
like
there.
1.9,
right
around
next
that
week.
area.
Well, Christmas.
Christmas.
Week.
Yeah, you'll probably go over the 2 million mark.
Yeah.
Okay, so and what language is that? Do you use on programming language?
Well, this latest version uses the Unity engine, which is a very popular gaming engine for independent games. Basically because of it's extremely impressive piece of software. It really is, because it uses, I can use C# is the language of focus for that.
Okay.
But it instantly will port it to Linux, the OS X, and to the Windows PC. It also has the capability to port it to a bunch of other systems, which I'm hoping at some point to put it in, like Android, like iOS, and that sort of thing. No, it's an extremely powerful tool. It's got some rough edges. The windowing system is very basic. There's some other things, really kind of idiosyncrasies that shouldn't be there, but they're constantly improving it. And it's a very, very good game engine, and I would recommend somebody who wants to save a lot of time, or if they have ideas that they want to play with, it's very good to have knowledge of how Unity works and how it. Oh yes, definitely.
Cool. Is that a free piece of software?
Well, Unity is funny because it's one of these things where over time they keep changing their license to try to figure out how to monetize it. Okay. It used to cost like $1,000.
Okay.
And then they said, okay, well, we'll make a free version, but you can't use the lighting. And a lot of first-person shooter games that you see in the independent realm, of course, you got to have shadows and lighting and all this other stuff. And so you had to pay for the lighting. And then a few years ago, they said, oh no, okay, it's free. And so the whole product with the lighting, with the shadows, all the bells and whistles is there available for you to download.
Okay.
And you can receive all the updates and all that other stuff. If you sell something and your revenue is over $100,000, then you have to pay a $1,000 or $2,000 license fee, I do believe.
Oh, okay.
Or maybe it's a monthly subscription thing at that point.
Oh.
But that's where they are at this time.
Huh.
And once again, that makes it a great tool for people who don't make that much money or just want to experiment with it. And you're seeing a lot more Unity games on Steam. Very very popular venue for that.
Cool.
That sort of stuff.
So what about like let's say I wanted to make an app for SCP Radio.
Okay.
Would Unity be something? No, it wouldn't work good.
Well, I don't know. It might be, actually. It might be. It's definitely, I'm not an artistic person. If you looked at my game and my graphics, you couldn't tell that I'm not an artistic person. But take my word for it, I'm not artistically inclined, right? And for someone like me, it seems to have been able to get me over that hurdle of doing all sorts of mixing and splicing, that sort of thing, and cutting in and fading out and those sorts of things. But once again, it's not simple. So programmatically, you got to know what you're doing,
You do gotta know.
which is probably where you'd be thrown out because you really have to code
you have to code,
to do
yeah.
it right.
But you're saying like C# is you can code.
They take the two languages they use is C# and JavaScript. Now, why you would want to make anything
In Java.
of any size in JavaScript, I don't know. There are people that'll do it.
Oh, yeah.
And they're probably yelling at me right now saying this. But
What do you mean?
like I was telling you earlier, with C#, I'm able to integrate my Visual Studio into my development process, which I don't know if that means anything to you, but what it means is that I can real-time debug issues, check what the values of everything. It's
saying you can step through
yes,
line
I
by
can
line.
step through line by line and
Yeah.
everything, and it's a little fragile, like I said. Sometimes Unity will
Crashes.
crash in that,
Yeah.
but only if you use, if you abuse it pretty much in the debugger. But it's been a lifesaver.
Oh, wow.
That marriage between Microsoft's Development Studio and Unity. It's just, from a programmer's perspective, fantastic.
Awesome.
And the fact that I can develop C# code with my Visual Dev Studio, press compile, wait 5 minutes, come back, and put it on a Mac or put it on Linux, it's just awesome. It's awesome. And probably Android and probably iOS
Wow.
and whatever.
Not bad.
TiVo, they have all sorts of stuff. That,
Cool.
I think they even do HTML5 too. So.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. And do you know other languages?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
A lot of them.
Well, yes. I can. I was a kid that had a TRS-80 Radio Shack computer. My dad was a computer scientist, so he had one of these at home with the cassette recorder. Right.
Yeah.
I wrote a football game for that. It would, when there'd be a 30-yard run, Earl Campbell runs for 30 yards and all this other stuff. That was in BASIC. I mean, we're not the visual.
That's, you either
just-
did basic
just
or
the Go
assembly,
run.
right?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's in BASIC on a little cassette thing.
Yeah.
Then when I got to college, I studied aerospace engineering to start with. This is at UT. I was actually quite shocked because on the first day with all the engineering students, they gave us a test because they said, well, we have an advanced programming class and we have the beginner programming class. And so they take 150 of us in there. We all take the test, and 3 of us moved on to the advanced class. Now, I really didn't know anything, so I hate to think what the other people didn't know. But I think that was a big break for me because it was an advanced Fortran class. They taught us, it was 3 of us in a room with an instructor for, a semester. And so you could learn pretty quick like that. Cool. And so Fortran, index cards through the machine. Oh, yeah. Drop them. Oh, well, so much for that code. That sort of thing.
Wow.
Yeah, they still had card readers back in those days. So that was fun. So there's Fortran. And then we do other stuff, not engineering related after that. Finally, at some point, I decided to get married, had to make some money, right? That happens.
Oh, yeah.
You haven't experienced that yet. But
no.
Yeah.
I haven't.
But, and so go back to school for master's in software engineering. And there I learned, I mean,
C?
I was
Probably
self-taught
started with
already, but
C
it was C
or- yeah.
and C#. C#, C++.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And then at some point when I did the first Empire in 2002, that's a C++ program. And the phone app that you experience is in Java, and then we have the C# for the Unity. And once you learn 2 languages, you can move all over the place.
Yeah, because I know Brian was mentioning that he on the job training with C#.
Yes.
Like
Pretty much.
they
yes.
told him we need you to work in C#, and that wasn't his.
Yeah.
But
see, now that
but-
you know C#, you could do Java if you needed to.
Yeah, I dabbled in Java just when I needed, but it wasn't like everyday kind of thing. But yeah.
The structures are very much
everything's
the
very
same.
same.
Yep.
C is tricky. The
Yeah.
problem with C and C++ is what they call memory management. This is a big deal. See, Java and C# are nice and lazy. The computer will take care of all the memory issues for you.
Garbage collection, as they call it, right? Yeah.
And
Okay.
C and C++, if you want to create something, you have to specifically tell the computer I want you to save this memory space for this data, be it your name, whatever. Okay, well, there it is. And if I forget to tell it that I'm done with that, that's what they call a memory leak. It just sits there in the program. And that's why you can see programs get bigger memory-wise, and they say they have a leak because they don't clean up that stuff. And so what's nice about these interpreted languages, Java and C#, is that they can be cleaned up by the computer.
By the computer.
Yes.
Yeah. Cool. All right. You got something?
Sure. Well, how about just back to your experience in creating your game and games? Maybe you could tell us about how the sound effects, graphics come together. Because you mentioned you're not necessarily artistic, but how do you work through?
Well, like I told you, for this, when I first did the 2002 version, I mean, I probably had no clue what I was doing graphically, artistically, and I definitely got a lot of criticism about how it looks. I still get a lot of criticism about how it looks, but it is what it is. I tell people it's just me. I certainly can't afford an artist to make it look like Cuphead or something like that. I mean, we're talking that's thousands and hundreds of thousands of dollars of art.
Oh yeah.
For that angry potato. I mean, it's an expensive thing. And I have looked at other properties and that sort of thing, and you can see them. The amount of money that is spent on art is just phenomenal. And it looks easy, but there's just nothing easy to it.
Yeah.
And so so I did have someone help me with the graphics back in 2002, 2003. With the combined edition, I basically taken those graphics and put them back in. I did take a couple of art classes, which were very beneficial. And I would tell anybody that wants to do gaming that they should take some basic entry-level art courses so that they understand just what's expected when you make a picture or a painting, and how you need to take all the different elements and bring them together. And that's what makes the game interesting. As opposed to, I think it just, I see the platformer,
you don't have a clue,
so I just do this. And so there's a little bit more synergy there. I have millions of years to go on that, but it is nice, and I was glad I got that knowledge. So art is a huge thing, and if I would not recommend being a developer of one, right? But a lot of people, if you can team, you need a really good heavy artist and a really good development person to team up, because the art takes so much time to do. It's very hard to do, actually. And I'm sure you see that with just the stuff you were talking about that you do too. It's hard to come up with all those things. But the sounds are let me see, I wrote it down because I can never remember. Back in 2002 I used a company called Sonomic, which went under, and they're now called stockmusic.com, and that's a great site for you to find, and they don't have any clue that I'm endorsing them here, but it's a great site where you can go through their libraries. They got hundreds and thousands of sounds, and you can play them, and they've got a watermark on it. Somebody says stockmusic.com or something like that to rip it, but they have a great search capability, and you can find a lot of good sounds, and generally a sound costs $2, $1.50, right? And so if I have a game and I have 30 units in it, and you've got to do a movement sound, a combat sound, a death sound, right? So you got 3, and of course I reuse, because a tank sounds like this or that, or the firing or whatever. But over time I've built a library of sounds that I use, and so you can budget a good $100, $200, $300, to get a good library of sounds that you can use.
Cool.
I think they even have some music on there, so if you need music, you can.
Oh, okay. Like maybe
music.
Like an intro.
Yeah, or
when you turn.
Somebody's got their synthesizer and has a and is trying to sell it.
Yeah.
You can get it for your game.
Cool.
So
Okay, what about... Okay, so you did say on other platforms you do have the Android, and do you have a... You don't have a Apple game, the app on
well, there's the mobile edition, which I
Uh-huh.
did back in 2014, I think it was.
Okay.
And that was for Android and iOS.
and it's still
And it's
on
actually
iOS?
a precursor of the combined edition. Some of the concepts from the combined edition went over to make concepts from the mobile edition came over to help me build the combined edition.
Oh, okay.
But Apple has just gone to iOS 11,
Mhm.
which demands 64-bit only
64-bit.
apps.
Yeah.
And so, unfortunately, I used a third party, once again, source base to build that. And that's a 32-bit application. I don't have the time or resources to remake it. So Apple customers, unfortunately, with iOS 11, that it basically terminates their ability to use the game.
Yeah.
But Android is still going
still
strong,
going,
and
yeah.
it's really a nice platform.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I got the game on my phone, on my Android, and I played with it. You know, I was like, oh, it's pretty cool, but that's not my cup of tea.
You know,
But like, I do want to try. I want to keep, playing it. I want to see, how it is. Because at one point I played similar games, and when I do get into it, I get into it. And so I do want to try this out and see how far, I can get.
Well, this is a dangerous game, okay, because it has what they call the one more turn syndrome.
Yeah, just one more.
Okay, because you want to just explore that next corner.
Exactly.
Or you want to see the results of the battle that you've been setting up for. Or, is he going to take this city from me? And that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And you just do one more turn, but of course that develops into one more turn.
Yeah, exactly.
And then all of a sudden it's 2:45 or whatever,
Yeah.
and you're dead tired, and you got to go to work. And if it's a mess.
Yeah. I mean, because I do have Civ 5, and that's what, like what you're
Civ
saying,
5
the
is-
one more turn thing. I'm like, okay, just one more. And normally, like I said, I don't have time to play games right now, but
That's how you have to look at it. If you don't have time, you don't.
you don't, yeah.
Yes.
And when we've gone, like, we'll go for the radio station, we'll go to San Antonio and do an event over there. We're in the hotel room, and we're all chilling, we're resting. I'll pull out the computer, turn Civ 5 on, and everybody's asleep, and I'm still sitting there, one more turn, just one more turn. I know what you mean.
Yeah, no, it happens. And it's funny because Sid Meier, who wrote the Civ series, and Civ, the first Civ was a great game. And actually, I guess my favorite one is probably 3, I guess. When they put the religions in it. I forget, 4? Yeah, probably 4. See,
Okay.
My agent is telling me 4 over there. But, but Sid Meier said that a lot of his inspiration in Civilization came from the combat mechanics and that sort of thing of Empire.
Oh, wow.
And so the games are related in that way.
Yeah.
He's made a little more money, but I mean, he only added like a minor thing, like a technology tree and all these other things that
Yeah.
but little small things.
Yeah, little small things. But no, but I mean, that's what it reminded me of too. When I play Civ 5, you move on the map and it opens up the area so you can see more. It's the same exact
the
thing.
exploration's really well done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what I noticed when I was playing, Empire, and I was like, wow, it's pretty.
And that's
cool.
one of the reasons why I don't change the
Much,
game.
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Because it's classic play, and some people don't like the fact that when 2 units get together to fight, one of them's going to die. Because nowadays, with a lot of these games, it's a little watered down, where your units get together and they fight, and this one gets wounded and he retreats.
Yeah.
And you can go heal him up, and then you can
And then
come
bring him
back
back in.
beat up on the computer that way.
Yeah.
But this is a little more hardcore.
Yeah, I noticed that every
Yes.
time one would die, either I would die or they would die.
Yeah, it's Thunderdome combat.
Yeah, it is. Okay, no wonder, because I was like, is he gonna like survive this even though he didn't? No.
There's no retreat.
There's no. Okay.
Whenever you enter an engagement, someone's gonna lose.
Someone's gonna. Oh wow. Okay. Yeah. Hardcore.
Yeah.
Hardcore.
And like I said, it seems like a lot of the turn-based strategy fighting mechanics have definitely moved away from that, and some people have trouble with that.
Yeah.
They don't really want to lose.
They don't want to lose. Yeah. No, I saw it. And I was like, hey, that was my troop. I was like, he just died.
And now you have nothing.
No, crap. Yeah, but no, that's pretty cool. All right, so what other games? Now, do you have any other games that you've worked on?
Well, that I've worked on. Well, yeah.
Maybe not completely made from
Maybe
scratch,
not all.
or
Well, there were some that I made from scratch,
yeah.
but they didn't do very well, or they weren't really that good. I mean, you've got to cut your teeth
Yeah,
somehow.
yeah.
And I would encourage anybody that you're not going to make a Cuphead score.
Yeah.
When you first go out and do something, but you know, you have to really look at what you like to do, and you have to experiment and build it. And you should never day one go in, okay, I'm going to make this game, and like I said, 18 months later, no, you're not going to last.
Yeah.
If you don't realize how long the process is to do that.
Yeah.
And so it's funny, but I've made a couple of titles that nobody really wanted to look at, and I understand that. And it's really tough too. Marketing's a huge problem.
Yeah.
But oh gosh, what was the question?
So like, what other games?
Oh, other games.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Now there's tons of other games I play. In fact, I wrote some down. I'm a real junkie for a game. In fact, I get my agent to play with me, my agent bugs me to play it. It's called 7 Days to Die. Are you familiar with that game?
7 Days.
It's a zombie apocalypse game with Minecraft-like building, and it's
okay. I've seen it. I haven't played it. I've seen. Yeah, it looks like Minecraft.
I've got over 1,000 hours in that on Steam.
Okay.
I mean, it's like 2-3 years.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just a great game called 7 Days to Die. I'd recommend it to anybody. It's first person, all this other stuff.
Yeah.
Crafting, building blocks to fool around, all sorts of stuff. It's a lot of fun. And I play that one. Another first person type game is a game called Ark Survival, which is fairly recent. The past that's with dinosaurs.
The dinosaur one, yeah.
And that's why I joined that clan, because they were into that game, and you have to be in a group to play that game right. And it's just it's fascinating.
Yeah.
All the and some of these guys playing that game, they're worried about hatching eggs and training your dinosaurs, and now
You train dinosaurs? I thought you just shot dinosaurs.
Well, you can do that too, but you capture and you train them so you can ride them and run around and and beat up on each other. And all these it's incredible depth in that game.
Wow.
Minecraft is a phenomenal game.
Yeah.
I haven't played for years. It's actually the only game that I have literally uninstalled off my machine to stop playing.
To stop playing because
And I've done it several times. So it's like you break the habit.
Keep it on there. You're gonna install it anyway, right?
And then it comes back.
And
then you have to break that habit again. You go cold turkey in Minecraft. But Minecraft is a historical event, and what it did for independent gaming is phenomenal. And the reception I've received with the combined edition versus the reception I received in 2002, I mean, it's very different.
Yeah.
People are much more open to independent gaming and downloading. Back then, I want a disc with my game and all this other stuff. And
not anymore.
And that's exactly. All that's changed. Gosh. I'd be neglectful if I didn't mention RimWorld. Are you familiar with that? That's a Unity game written by one guy, okay? Although I think it took him a few years, okay? But he has sold some 500,000 copies of that game. That's one of these simulator type games. Okay. There's an older game called Dwarf Fortress, which, as somebody said, has the interface looks like a core dump. It's just ASCII, but it's supposedly one of the greatest games ever because of the depth of the stories that you can tell, and you build your fort with your 12 dwarves, and they get attacked by demons if you tunnel too deep, and all sorts of other stuff. And RimWorld is you're crash landed on a a planet. You have to build your own space colony, and you start with 3 little guys. They call them pawns, and you run around and you get more either by capturing them or by them joining your group, and it's a fascinating game, and it's become extremely popular. And you can, it's one of those games where you're just into it and you lose track of time.
Wow.
That's a great game, but these are different from, console type titles.
Yeah.
And I've always been a PC guy. I've never really been a console guy.
Yeah.
Although we played a lot of Guitar Hero and that sort of stuff.
Yeah. Rock Band? Rock Band and stuff?
Not Rock Band. Didn't do Rock Band.
No, just Guitar Hero.
No, Rock Band means family together.
Yeah.
Guitar Hero is a solo thing. See, Faithy knows, right? No, Dad, I don't want to do the drums.
Yes.
It's fun.
Yeah. My son's the one that took over the drums.
There you go.
Yeah. But that's cool.
How about, before I forget, how about Kerbal Space Program?
Kerbal.
Because you mentioned sorry, the word escapes
Musk.
me. The engineering, aerospace
Yes.
engineering.
Yes.
So,
which is probably why I stayed away from it. It was free one weekend. I played it. It's cute. It's a Unity game. And
it is?
yeah, that's done in Unity, I do believe.
Okay.
But it's
not action packed, but it's,
well, no, I
mean-
didn't want to do all the calculating.
That's what I was
Yeah.
going to say.
But-
a lot of math, huh?
But I would watch these people who would post their GIFs or their images of them on the.
Oh, the
it's not
orbits
the
of-
moon. What do they call it? They have some
yeah.
other weird name for the moon. I
Everything
forget what
begins
it
with
is.
like a K. That's
Yeah.
the theme of the whole game.
Yeah.
But oh man,
But
my son would
that-
know.
That's an incredible
He's
piece
watching
of
right
software.
now, and he's
Yeah.
yelling at me. I can hear it.
He's-
Oh yeah. Anyway,
Yeah,
I forget, but yeah.
No, it's really funny. But I got to the point where I managed to launch somebody in orbit. I
Yeah.
think the tutorial does that.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, okay, I know what I do this with a lot of games.
Uh-huh.
Okay, I see what this game is like,
Uh-huh.
and if I really want to be good at it,
It's going to take a
Yeah.
long time.
it's
Yeah, a
gonna
lot
take
of
a
effort.
while,
Yeah.
and I'll enjoy it, but I just don't have
that time. Yeah.
And that's one of those. So I've never. I think I even own a copy, but I've never gotten to
Yeah.
really spend any time with it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I see other people talking about what they did. And
Yeah, there are mods you can download
Oh, yeah.
for the Interstellar ship. I think my son has, and probably SpaceX Dragon capsule. All those. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
oh yeah, no, that's a
Yeah.
great game.
Good,
yeah.
good.
That's like you say, I've wanted to play that game. I've wanted to get it, but I know it's going to take too much
Takes
of my time.
patience to
Yeah.
learn all the controls
That's
and the
pro-
orbits. I didn't have that kind of patience. Everything I lift off just blows up a couple miles above or kilometers above the
Yeah,
earth.
and your poor guy with the sick expression on his face, and
Yeah.
Well, I forget what the name of those Kerbals
Well,
or
Kerbals
something.
are the
Yeah.
people. They're
Yes.
not people, but they're little figures like minions. But yeah.
That's pretty.
Anyway. Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
That seems like
little
a
minion looking.
seems like
Yeah.
a cool game. Cool. So you got any anything else you want to throw out there? Anyone mention?
Oh, I don't. I don't know. I don't know. I did write down. We were talking about how difficult it was to make a game, and I wrote down the 6 main areas of focus that I have to do. This is why it's so hard.
Okay.
Marketing. Okay, you know a little bit
Yeah.
about that. Very hard for me to do marketing. Very difficult.
Mhm.
Just watch one of my Kickstarter video and you'll see how hard marketing is for me. No,
Okay.
but it's actually that's quite a challenge.
Yeah.
Code development's a big one.
Yeah.
That's the one where I like that, but you need to really block your time to do that. You can't be distracted with marketing when you're doing code
Yeah,
development.
yeah.
And I actually was very careful when I did this version. I scheduled it more so I knew when I had a month or two period that I was going to be deep in the code, or okay, that's it. Now I need to work on the Kickstarter campaign, right? And that sort of thing. And I mentioned Kickstarter. I see a lot of gamer types, right? Let's make a game
Oh yeah.
type people, and they even actually have a working prototype, maybe something else,
Uh-huh.
and they think Kickstarter is a venue to raise money,
Yeah.
and it's not.
Yeah.
And if you think you're going to make a lot of money by having a Kickstarter,
Yeah.
you're deceiving yourself. Kickstarter is a marketing tool.
Yeah.
And you have to do the groundwork for marketing before you start your Kickstarter, and I see these poor people who think they're going to get a lot of money, and they have 5 days to go, and they have $260,
Yeah.
and 3 or 4 people who are probably their relatives, right, have signed on to help their game, and of course they have some unrealistic goal at $30 or $50 or $70,000.
Yeah.
And it's, for independent gamers, it's very hard. If you want to have a good Kickstarter and you don't have a lot of backing, shall we say, prior to that. I'm lucky because I've got that history with the game. So I told my people, hey, come here, look at this. And so I was able to raise some money in Kickstarter that way. But once again, I used it for awareness, not really for money per se, but is art. And if you can do a really nice art presentation, okay, and really show people that you have, you have something unique. I mean, the art is key in these games, and so being an artist is another one of those. Customer service. Oh my gosh, people don't think of that. And then one day they've got their product out there, and I mean,
the emails show
people
up.
don't know how to do anything. Sometimes they get confused. They're not used to it. It's a problem. Or they're angry. Okay, you never have the people who will send you a mail every day telling you how much they love it.
No.
They don't. They're happy, they're playing.
Yeah.
Okay? So it's only the angry people that you get.
Yeah.
Okay? And then you get people who are struggling because they're confused about something. And it's usually something I've done, right? The manual's wrong, or there's a bug here, and they don't recognize that it's a bug, and that sort of thing. And you've really got to walk through it with them. And customer service is an important aspect of that. So I would say that's important. If we still got time, game design, different from coding and development. You have to know what you're doing. It doesn't mean you have to know all the answers, but you have to kind of have a concept. And a plan before that. And game design. And then testing is very important too. It's another factor. So for being one person, I try to really break that down. And so, and this time around, I've put in more time for the things that are harder for me to do, like marketing, like art, and that sort of thing. And then the code development, I'm pretty good about planning my time. I've actually enjoyed testing this version a lot more, which surprised me because in 2003, it's, oh no, I've got to look at this again. And I feel better about this game because I enjoy playing it. And that's, I'm not burned out. I'm not dissatisfied, and I'm very pleased with the product.
So you're the only one that plays it, like to test it, as a tester?
Yeah, don't say I'm the only one that plays
no,
it.
No, that's not what I meant. But you're the only tester.
He's a QA department.
No. Actually, no.
You have,
all my games, I
you have
once
a beta?
again, I have an alpha. I had an alpha for this.
Okay.
That I personally contacted about 8 people, actually 6. And then when they heard I was alpha testing, I had about 4 people say, oh, come on, you gotta let me do this. So I started with an alpha group, and this is before the Kickstarter.
Okay.
And that was hard, was releasing it to alpha in like May or June this year, because, before that, if you see something you want to change, you just change it. You're the only person that has to worry about it. Once you get it distributed to some people, you have to start being more careful with what you change. Of course, with alpha, you just tell them it's alpha and you let them suffer. But still, it takes some work.
Yeah.
After the Kickstarter, I opened it up to beta. I told anybody in the Kickstarter that wanted to beta, send me an email. I got about 40 people to send me an email. I broke that into 3 waves because it's very important. If you take your test group and you just say, okay, here it is. Boom, right? Okay, and I do that in September. Well, by week 2, they know all the cracks and all the warts, and they know how to avoid them. They've learned how to play the game, so the tutorial isn't necessary for them and all that other stuff. So you got to do it in waves so that once you feel you're ready, you introduce it again to a new group of people. And it's very beneficial because they'll find all sorts of stuff that you missed or that they're confused on.
Okay. Yeah.
And sometimes they're confused about the stuff you added from the last wave that the last wave said they wanted.
Yeah.
So I went through 3 waves with that, and then I was trying to do a larger Steam test, but I had some trouble with Steam as far as getting approval for the game because they thought, and it's a funny story, they thought I have this concept in the game called an account, where you create an account because some people like to play the game and just fool around, but they don't want that to count towards their stats.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Or whenever I play humans, I want one account, and when I play a computer, I want another account.
Okay.
So I have this word account.
Yeah.
Turned out to be a problem because when Steam looked at it and they said, well, here it says create an account, and you haven't put it in here that you have a third-party system in this.
Oh.
And, so I had to reroute them and have them look at it again. So
Yeah.
So I got a delay there, and that cost me about a week, so I didn't get to run that bigger test. So I went ahead and just went out and released in early December because that's what I promised them I would do. So.
Yeah. Oh, pretty cool.
But I'm pretty pleased with how the Kickstarter and this whole program has ended up because I think I fulfilled my promises to the best of my ability with this, and overall people are very happy with it. Oh yeah.
Pretty cool.
Oh, yeah.
Cool. Nice. You got anything else, Brian?
No. Nope.
I don't know if I had any other exciting things to say.
Well, how about mentioning the website again and how people can, purchase the game again?
Yeah, of course. But the game is available on Steam.
Okay.
Empire Deluxe Combined Edition. Or if you want the DRM free version, if you know what that is. In other words, you don't have any control on it and you can install it on your machine and all that other stuff, then you go to itch.io and you search for Empire Deluxe Combined Edition. So itch.io is kind of like my home, and then I also have a Steam board up on Steam. And, you can post questions in either of those 2 forums for the game.
Cool. So itch.io is like a Steam...
itch.io is...
a marketplace, or...?
It is a market. It was done by this guy, Leaf. I forget his last name. But basically, it's kind of an independent gaming alternative to something like Steam. There's a bunch of... It's kind of in that Ludum Dare or whatever contest where people just make games over a weekend or something, and they post them up there. They have a bunch of game contests. They have a bunch of off-color games, just very strange, all sorts of social games, various stuff. And there's products on there that are free, that have cost and that sort of thing, and some of them are just pet projects. Okay. But it's a nice site because there is a mechanism for a market. They definitely gelled with my requirements for the Kickstarter going out afterwards, and it's easy to set up. The owner, Leaf, was very responsive, and I had asked around too, and it had gotten favorable reviews from other developers.
Nice. I had never heard of itch.io. Pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a good site. You should check it out. There's all sorts of weird stuff there.
Yeah. Yeah, I like playing little independent games, like small games, because like I said, I don't have much time, and a lot of these games you can play them, and then get in and get out. It's not a big 2-3 hour session, just for one level.
And then you have my amazingly graphical website, which will be KillerBeeSoftware.com.
KillerBeeSoftware.com.
And that's B with, as in the insect.
Yeah, BEE.
And this goes all the way back to the Saturday Night Live skit and a softball team. But that's
okay. That's something. Okay.
Another story.
Another story. So yeah, KillerBeeSoftware.com. Cool. Well. Yeah. Thank you so much for coming and giving us an interview.
It's been fun.
Yes.
Hopefully I didn't yell in Faithy's ear too.
No.
Okay.
Cool. Awesome. Well, all right. That's going to be the end of the show. So thank you again to Mark Kincaid. Thank you, Brian and Faithy, for being here. Thank you to all the listeners. We appreciate you guys. You can find more about the show, about SCP Radio at scpradio.com. On Twitter at Space Cadet Pro, Facebook at Space Cadet Pro. Let me see. Subscribe to us on iTunes or your favorite podcatcher app. You can email us at scpradio@spacecadetpro.com. Leave us a voicemail at 832-910-7727. Let me see. Thanks again for joining us live, or you can download the on-demand version. Like iTunes, like I said, as a podcast. You can. It's gonna be also on YouTube. It's gonna be on Facebook. We have Mixcloud. There's they'll have the audio version there. So just search SCP Radio on all those places, and you'll be able to, re-listen, listen to the show if you missed it. All right, and hope to see everybody back again next week. Listening, all the listeners, all the viewers, come back next week, or actually not next week. That's what I was gonna tell you, Brian. We're gonna skip next week since it's
holiday time.
Holiday time.
Yeah, I was going to.
Yeah.
I'll be out of town, but and I imagine a lot of us would be.
Would you be back in January 4th? What is it?
I'll be back. I don't get too much vacation, but
don't get too much vacation.
Yeah. No.
So I'm thinking we're gonna skip one week, and we'll try to come back January 4th.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully Brian either you can make it, you can Skype in, or come in.
Okay.
And maybe that day we'll have another guest. Either probably on Skype, another guest on Skype.
Yeah. Okay.
So all right, guys, we'll be back January 4th. Thanks again, and we'll see y'all later.
Right, thank you.
Thank you. Mm-hmm. All right.
This is your boy, Light Jockey Mike, and I just wanted to thank you for supporting SCP Radio. That's the end of our show, but please be sure to check us out on spacecadetpro.com, where you will be able to watch our videos, find and like all of our social media accounts, and chat with us. While you are there, click on the radio tab, where you will be able to see the show schedule and all of the different ways to reach us. You can also listen to us from there if you are on a PC or laptop. Thanks again, and remember, we are the future in entertainment.